Hazelcat, Hazelcat, rescue cat who knows where it's at. Use a chair for her bed, pair of cymbals by her head. Look out, here comes the Hazelcat.
And so, for this singular contribution to the science of astral wave projection, we take great pleasure in bestowing the Curie Award to Dr. Irving Caldwell.
You must be very proud of your father tonight, Jan.
I'm always proud of him.
Well, yeah, how can you not be proud of someone named Irving?
Dad!
In fact, somebody's so proud of him, they want him all to themselves. Peter is talking to another Susan when Irving's son Jan goes by.
I guess he's got a lot on his mind.
Yes, he doesn't know if his father's alive or...
Poor kid. He looks so all alone.
You know, you could do something about that, but standing here talking is much more effective.
That very afternoon, as Jan returns home from school to the secluded suburban laboratory estate where he and his father lived, young Caldwell is about to make a discovery which will forever alter the course of his life.
That there is what we call an exposition dump. At least this time we got it from the narrator. As often as not, we get a character talking to himself and telling us that stuff.
Meanwhile, on the Caldwell case, police and FBI officials are able to turn no clue to the missing scientist's whereabouts. But official speculation now indicates that the strange disappearance is somehow linked to Caldwell's famed Astro helmet, his closely guarded invention, which has likewise now strangely disappeared.
Oh, no, it hasn't. Jan has been his dad's good right hand on this project, and not only does he know what it is and how it works, he knows where it is.
The Astro helmet. Dad would never reveal its hiding place. So if this is what's behind Dad's disappearance, maybe it's up to me to use the Astro helmet as bait.
The Astro helmet gives him the ability to fly. Why the fancy name and all the talk about astro waves, whatever they are? It's an anti-gravity hat. That's it.
Luckily, Dad showed me how to use his invention. First, this insulated suit and the control belt. Then the Astro helmet, and I'm ready to go.
Remember what I said about characters talking to themselves in exposition dumps? A little practice, and he's ready to go out and track down his dad, or at least draw his dad's captors out into the open. Spiderman is patrolling the city when he spots a flying kid with a blender on his head.
Holy flying catfish! Another superhero! Or I'm an hallucinating webhead. Golly, gotta look into this, and fast.
First, nothing indicates he's a superhero except he's flying without a plane. But over the next couple of minutes, we'll get the real story. He's jealous. He doesn't want some other hero horning in on his territory. He's in for a surprise because Ant-Man had been around since 1962 and Daredevil appeared in 1964, not to mention the Fantastic Four were there before Spider-Man was, so he's got lots of competition already. But this guy is getting on his nerves for some reason. Without even trying to talk to the kid, Spider-Man catches up with him and starts an aerial fight.
Wow, what a scoop! Two superheroes in a flying dogfight. Wonder who the new guy in the red tights is. Looks like a kid. Well, here goes. Bet I scooped that nosy no-good-nick Peter Parker this time.
That's Jerry Muldoon, photographer for the Evening Star and the most intellectual guy on the paper's staff. J. Jonah Jameson doesn't care if his name is Pierpont McPantywaist. He wants to know why Peter didn't get the picture. There's no way to explain that he was otherwise engaged at the time. Maybe if he had been a little nicer and asked the kid who he was and what he was doing up there, he wouldn't be missing a big chunk of his butt by the time Jonah gets done. Now, with all that going on, we've temporarily forgotten the most important person in the story. His name is Irving. He has to be the most important person in the story.
Strange. Very strange. Very interesting. The Spider-Man I have heard of before. But this other youth, this flying boy whom the newspaperman have named Skyboy, it is very curious.
I shall ask Dr. Caldwell about it. We have ways of making him talk.
Very curious indeed. This helmet he wears looks very much as I would imagine Dr. Caldwell's Astro Wave helmet should look.
He assumes it should look like a blender on a helmet. Well, why not?
Wake up, Dr. Caldwell. When your master speaks, you obey, miserable slave.
He calls himself Dr. Zap. Best I can tell, he's a sentient onion with a beard and legs, and it's obvious he doesn't belong in this season because he's just barely green. It's not hard for him to figure out that Caldwell's son Jan is the one operating the helmet.
I must have your invention. Those fools at the Institute, they said I was a madman. Fool. A charlatan. I will show them all that I, Dr. Zap, am the greatest scientist the world has ever known. I will make myself the master of every secret invention on Earth. Then I, Zap, will rule it supremely.
You don't become a great scientist by stealing other people's work. You do your own. Looks like the people at the Institute were right. He's both crazy and lazy.
Hello?
If you would learn of your father's fate, go to Lightning Mountain.
What? Who is this?
Go alone. If you inform the police of this, you will never see your father again.
He didn't tell him to bring the helmet, but as he figured, Jan will use it to fly there. And yes, Dr. Zap really hides out on Lightning Mountain. I'm sure that seemed appropriate to somebody. While Skyboy is heading for Lightning Mountain, Spiderman is trying to find Skyboy.
What a spot for Spidey. To keep my job, I gotta lug this darn camera around, hoping to get a shot of that scarlet plaid flyboy.
Oh, By this time in the comics, he had gotten his hands on a nice miniature camera that attached to his belt buckle. Once again, I don't know why we don't just take a story from the comics and animate it instead of all this nonsense. And notice the flash on that thing. It uses bulbs the way Jimmy Olsen's camera did in the old Superman show. I don't see any pockets on his suit, so we have to assume that he gets one shot at this with his one flashbulb. Skyboy goes by, but now Peter has a new reason to follow him. Get close enough for a picture. He should ask for an autograph while he's at it.
He's heading for the outskirts of the city. Wonder where he thinks he's going. Holy cats, I'm stuck. No more buildings, so how do I keep going now?
Easy. He hitches a ride on a truck using his webbing so the driver never even knows.
Everything looks normal. Too normal. What?
Now, fella, let's have a little summit conference all by ourselves.
What are you doing here, you meddlesome webhead? You'll spoil everything.
Spidey, that's your cue to ask what constitutes everything and see if you can help.
Scram before I lose my temper. I step on bugs, you know.
Yeah, you and what platoon of Marines?
Or not. Dr. Zap doesn't feel like watching these two pummel each other anymore. He wants that helmet, and he wants it now. I'm not sure how that was supposed to help him get the helmet, but he definitely wants it. I know it seems amazing that they always manage to land right on the trap door. What most of us don't realize is the whole mountain is nothing but trapdoors spaced about 6 inches apart. The hardest part is remembering which lever goes to which trapdoor. Dr. Zapp introduces himself.
How's about showing us the way out before I feed you a jaw full of fist?
It's the same with those things. He didn't just happen to be standing in the right place. The whole ceiling is made of them.
Hey, it's Jan Caldwell. Wow, suddenly everything begins to make sense.
Yeah, just imagine the things you might have learned and the mistakes you might have avoided if you had tried to talk to him. Dr. Caldwell is chained to the wall nearby. Now, one thing that won't be brought up again, when he was putting that thing on, Jan said that protective suit was necessary for some reason. So if Zapp tries to fly with the helmet and not the suit, what happens to him?
Thank heavens you're all right.
Dad, are you okay? I thought I'd never...
Forgive me if I must interrupt this tender reunion scene, but now that the Astro helmet is in my hands, I have everything I need. Therefore, I have no further use for the two of you.
Spider-Man is standing there completely helpless. Well, maybe not completely.
Hey, Zapp, how about a little lightning?
Why, you troublesome little...
He got 3 flashes out of that one bulb. The 4-bulb flash cube was invented in 1965 and found its way onto all kinds of Kodak cameras, but that's not one of them. Zapp stumbling around causes a big explosion which frees Spider-Man from the tube. A little spider strength to break the chains holding Irving, and let's get out of here.
Gee, Spidey, I sure misjudged you. If it hadn't been for you, we'd be, well...
Gosh, forget it, kid. My pleasure. But no more Skyboy stuff from now on, okay? One costume crime fighter's plenty for this town.
He wasn't fighting crime, he was looking for his dad. And he can't do any more anyway, because if you look closely, you may realize that the helmet is back there under the mountain. He still has the suit, but as the expression goes, he's all dressed up and nowhere to go. Or at least no super-duper way to get there. We had the usual buttload of padding and all the rest, and the story is generic. Spider-Man's reaction to Skyboy is out of character. The Peter Parker we know from the comics would be glad to find a kindred spirit and wouldn't immediately attack him for existing. But then we might have to come up with a plausible reason to get them both in the same place at the same time, and plausible stuff is just too much work.